Hello and welcome, I'm Aziel. Are we going to see the end of codices? Now, I know a lot of people tend to think codexes are outdated. They're a thing of the past. Every other game and company tend to do 3 rules or put all the rules you need in the rulebook. So there is no necessity to buy a second book for an army. And in some cases, making the rulebook the first book, okay? Or in some cases, a third book. So whereas I've spoken about this a lot, but Games Workshop should start doing free data sheets. Actually, when they did it for 40k, they actually did them so well. The game was pretty well balanced, and the balancing was lost when the codices came out. That's a completely different point for another day. I want to talk about whether or not they're going to be kept. Now, I don't think Games Workshop are ever going to do free data sheets. I can't see it ever happening because they like money. However, I do think they might go back to what was the handbook, the general handbooks from Age of Sigmar. They tried it right at the start, for those who are old enough to remember, where you would have, instead of individual army books, you would have to get the 4 big books, which were like the Order, Destruction, Death, and Chaos. And it had all the models available that you could use for Age of Sigmar from then, and build an army with just these books. And then we kind of seen that expanded upon a little bit better within the Horus heresy, with the Liber Astartes, Liber Traitors, Imperium, Mechanicus. And once again, you see these books, they're all out, and they have all the rules, most of the rules for the armies in those books. So in the Loyalist, you had all the Loyalist legions and their rules, in the Traitors, etc., same with Imperium and Mechanicum. And I think, well, my issue with them is that there's a lack of lore, and there are problems with the layout. Yet we did see this get repeated again with Warhammer The Old World. Now, I don't know if Lord of the Rings did this beforehand, but I've seen a lot of different army books for them, so I'm not 100%. I can only go on with what I actually do know. And again, you see it with the good, you have the evil and the bad guys, but they decided, rather than just doing those 2 books, if you wanted to do an individual army, you would need a paperback supplement. Now, I'm not too worried about the paperback supplements. They're not too expensive, and they're not a necessity to play the game. My issue with supplements of 40k is, if you're doing Blood Angels, you do need it, and you do need the Space Marine book. Whereas with these supplements, if you're doing Tomb Kings, you don't need the Tomb King supplement to play it, because all the rules, except named characters, are in the Evil book. Which, it's not such a problem, because then there is no necessity to buy the supplement. So I can't complain. But it does mean it's a good thing for customers, because we're not having to buy out so many books for different armies or different campaign books. Having all the rules there straight away for all different armies, for the evil, for the good, for the Imperium, for the traitors, for, etc., allows, people to see all the rules, and actually not only that, plan out armies against different armies as well. The other good thing is, of course, that you can see what the other armies in that book can do. So you can plan your army accordingly to a different army. So you can see how if you had like an Imperium book and you were playing Imperial Guard, you would know what the stats were for Custodes, and you could see what you could use to, attack them. So all in all, it could be a good thing for the customer. Having then one, they like doing necessary books anyway, but having all a certain section of certain factions like Space Marines, or Imperium, a category of army. Chaos, Imperium, so category of army, that will work the best. So instead of having individual army books, having these new categories of, like I said, Imperium, Xenos, Chaos, whatever, works out well for the customer. And they would probably sell more. They wouldn't sell as many codices because, if someone had the Imperium book, they wouldn't need a codex for both Imperial Guard and Custodes, as an example. However, the reason I sort of started to think about it and coming up with this sort of elevation of ideas was the new edition of Lord of the Rings, Battle for Middle-earth, Battle for Rohirrim. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's not even a Scrabble winner. It's all R's and H's. It's a pointless word. And they've done the same thing. They've got 2 army books coming out. One is the Armies of the Hobbit, and the other is the Armies of Lord of the Rings. And as they say, once is an accident, twice is a coincidence, and 3 times is a pattern. So if they've already done it 3 times with 3 different games, even though they are technically smaller games, this is a way a company would see how well it works and how their customers respond, how their fans bases respond to it. If they respond positively, they'll do it again, or if they don't, they tend to go elsewhere. And seeing as we've seen it 3 times, well, technically 4, because like I said, right at the start of the Age of Sigmar, you had the General's Handbook. I can't remember what they called, but I do have it, but they're put well away, where they had the Order of Destruction, Chaos, and Death. Different ones for each one. And so it's been something they've been practicing and using for a while, and even did it on one of their main games. So I think we could see this coming for Warhammer 40k. Now, one of the things I don't like about these books is they tend to lack lore. They don't really have any of that into it, which is one reason why a lot of people buy codices. They like the lore that's in the book. But the last one, like 9th edition, the lore was quite sparse, and there wasn't much to it. I haven't seen any 10th edition codices yet, so I can't make comment. But I can see them going down this route very soon, maybe 11th or 12th edition, and that would be the way they would stick. They would do it for all their games. They would just have like Necromunda, they would have certain gangs that could be affiliated together, and they'd have their own book, or all the gangs in one book, But I think they're going that way. I think the codices are going to go, and we're going to just see these big bumper books of all the armies and different categories of army, all into one book, and that would be it. And I don't know. It's not a bad thing. It's not a great thing, because they should still go free with data. They should still do free data slates, and that's what I think they should do. However, if they're not going down that route, the next responsible thing for your customer is to do a big book like this. And seeing as, like I said, we've seen it at least 4 times to my knowledge, I can see them probably moving on to 40k with it as well. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hope you did. I just hope you enjoyed it. That's it. I don't want to say leave a like and subscribe. Just hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Leave a comment, because I do like having a good chinwag with you guys. And that's it. And of course, there's always Raylan Games down below if you wish to save money on your wargaming, Warhammer, etc. Up to 20% off, free delivery after £20, and they have a point system where it basically adds up to an extra 1% off, which is quite good actually. And there is also my merchandise, my comics, Skyforge, never forget Skyforge, good friend of mine, and of course Patreon, because business. Bye bye.